Hello everybody and welcome here on the for Extra channel. Today I'm going to talk about something that have been a big problem for me for a long time, since I got my Carabera Diversa, because today we're talking a little bit about my mite situation inside my ant room. Because as many of you know, I have mites in many of the colonies, and a lot of you keep suggesting different things, and today I'm going to pretty much explain what I will try to do. Now I'm using a little bit of a different setup, so let's see how it works today, because I am using my gimbal I bought for my camera, but let's see how it works with my phone. So this right here is the colony that is having the worst mite outbreak at the moment. If we just go all close, these are my Nico wrenches. This is the queen right there, and if you look around the workers, it's not necessarily easy to see, but some of them have a lot of mites on their gaster, and they've have mites ever since my Carabera Diversa colony, because ever since back then, setup was located over here, and over here they got their mites. So I'm gonna explain a little bit. So as far as I'm aware, this colony currently has mites. The Novomessa coccarelli don't have mites. I do believe that the Tetromorium bicarnatum have some kind of mites. It may just be grain mites. As far as I'm aware, this colony doesn't, this colony doesn't, this colony doesn't, this colony doesn't. These two, I've not completely checked them. I haven't seen any mites, but my bowlines over here do also have mites. And you can also see we have a lot of different things that have changed over this little time. So if we start over here, this is the colony that have the biggest mite problem. Now, I actually believe that when I move them into this wooden nest right here, that the colony would be fine, because this would be such a dry setup that the colony wouldn't be able to keep the mites alive. So for those who don't know, mites need humidity and food to grow. Now these are predatory mites, meaning they do sit on the ants, but as far as I'm aware, they don't harm the ants directly, except that they sit on the ants and weaken the ants because they will sit on them. Now, what I did yesterday, I noticed that it was a lot worse than I expected. I did a big clean out here in the outwall, so you can see we don't have that much debris out here, but I fooled myself a lot. There was a glass, right? It's down here now, but I had the lid on, meaning there wasn't that much ventilation. Meaning when I fed the colony roaches, the roaches would just stay down here and the colony would eat them. Now, I believe that everything would be kind of too dry to keep the mites alive, but that was where I was wrong. Because after I moved them in this setup, I really wanted them to expand a lot more so we could open more sections. And for those who don't know, I opened this section and the ants are sadly able to get above the walls. Now I could fix this myself with making a hole in the plexiglass and putting in a screw, but it's too late. The workers have done what they want to do, so I hope they won't trash inside the nest. But yeah, basically this colony had mites, and it actually looked a lot better in the old setup. Now I've noticed, I don't know how long, I think I've had mites for about half a year now, and what I've learned in all of that time is mites die when it's dry. If you get hypernastic mites, meaning they have parasitic mites, and predatory mites are the mites that hunt the parasitic mites. But if you go out and buy predatory mites, they will go in and eat the mite eggs of the bad mites. I'm going to call them the bad mites. So if we have a colony right here that have the bad mites, if we had the good mite killer mites, well, they'll kill the eggs. But the thing is, when you ventilate everything like this, keeping a lid open, it's too dry for neither of the mite species to survive. They will just die. Now, I'm an honest man, and I want to keep this channel honest, and I'm going to be honest about my mistakes. I thought that this was too dry for them, and that's why I wasn't that aggressive with cleaning. I was a lot more aggressive with cleaning this. This colony I had given up on, but now I'm back on cleaning them. But all my smaller colonies I kept cleaning to as best as I could. So all of these colonies were kind of always quite clean. But of course, I did believe that the dryness of the setup, you can see we do have a little bit of dead right down here. Some old meals that I should also go and clean. But I believed that it was too dry. Now, when I put them in here, I decided that I would like to overfeed them. So I gave them a lot of food to make sure that they would grow big and strong. And that meant that there was a lot of deaths down here, a lot of old meals. And that's where the mite problem got extremely bad, because the mites would be able to breed by eating all of the dead food. So I'm not going to go out and buy hypernastic miles, because when you dry the setup like this, all mites will die. When you do the same over here, dry the setup like this, all the mites will die. Now, I've also discussed a lot with Wakushi because Wakushi, he is, I can't lie, he's a very knowledgeable guy. There's a reason he's my favorite store out there, because he knows an incredible amount of knowledge. You've tested everything, it seems. And Wakushi was quite quick to say the reason that he has substrate in all of his setups in here is because if there's substrate, any juices from the food you give them will suck down and dry out. Not necessarily like that, but it will dry out if you put substrate in here. So instead of potentially mice can live among the corners of the roaches that they haven't been able to eat, like the small chunks in the side, well, now the sand will be such a dry environment that they shouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, that's kind of my, hang on, I'm just trying to find right here. I can turn it probably around. Again, I'm using this tripod for the first time on my phone. So basically, my theory to how I will deal with the mite problem now is to keep everything clean as per usual. This in here, you can also see, I mean, this is the thing. It doesn't look like it's bad, but you can see we have a little bit of dry carcasses in here. These dry carcasses may be wet enough or humid enough for the mice to survive. So now the lid is gone. We have a lot of ventilation coming in and drying this area. This is out here where the trash is, and it's getting dry, meaning the only place that the mites can live is in here, but the ants take the mites out when they are not in here, meaning everything should be good. Now, for some reason, my camera is doing some very funky stuff, so I'm just gonna do like this and it should reset. Yeah, there we go. So the mites can no longer live in here. They can live in here, but there's not enough food for them to live. The food is out here, but the food is too dry and they will die out here. Now, a lot of people say use lemon. That's one of the common thing. Use a lemon and everything is good. Now, lemon is some of the things that you also use to get ants away, as far as I've been told. So you use the same to get ants away as you use to get mites away. And I've also heard stories that when you lose lemon, the colony die a few weeks later because the lemon also hurts the ants. So I'm never going to use lemon because I simply don't trust it. I have too many people saying it doesn't work compared to the people who say it works. Because it seems the people who say that it works to use lemon is people who've only heard it but not actually done it. So I am not going to use lemons. Now, if you look around, you can see my bull ant setup. Before, it was very bad. It was a small outworld and I couldn't get in and properly clean it. Meaning I couldn't clean all the small carcasses, meaning I couldn't get in front of killing the mite eggs. Now what I've done now is, well, like now I can just, it's a very dry setup first of all, so the mice will have a hard time living out here. And once the bull ants are done eating, you can see they are eating a little bit right now, but once they're done eating, they'll take the dead out here and I'll clean it out. This is of course what you should always do, and I've also said to people, always clean it out, but I've just been lazy, and it's completely my own fault. Luckily, it doesn't seem to have damaged any of the colonies except my Care Bear diverser. Now, setups like these, I can't dry completely because I don't want to take the lid off, but I just need to make sure that I am on top of cleaning the outworld whenever. This is one of the areas where the ants where the mice will really have a great time because the nests are very humid. But as long as the ants keep taking the food out here, I can take the food and get away with it. These, as far as I know, it's the same mites as I got with the Care Bear. It's the red mites, and the red mites don't directly harm the ants. They just live off the ants and actually eat the carcasses out in the outworld. So they go out and eat the carcasses in the outworld and not the ants themselves. Meaning, as long as I cut away the food source for the mites, being the dry carcasses, everything should be good. So this is what I'm doing now. So we have an open setup. I'm gonna be on top of trash. I think I'm gonna try using the antimatter feeding dish right here. You see I have the feeding tower right here with the water. This is how I give the colony water. I really love these towers. Jake, please send some more. Just kidding. No, I'm not. I really do love these. I actually got these from Aesthetic Ants because he resells them, but they look fantastic. I haven't had the best experience just yet with the feeding dish just because they're so hard to get out. And I mean, I'm yet to say that they're a gimmick or not, but the tower itself and the water feeders right here, they are worth every penny. They work so well, and I just love it. But yeah, not sure with the feeding dish yet. But yeah, so this setup will now be well ventilated. So if there's any deaths out here, any carcasses, it'll be very hard for the mites to survive. I'll also clean it every single day. I feed them, I clean them, I feed them, I clean them. So before I fed them, waited, cleaned them and fed them the same day. Waited, cleaned them and fed them the same day. But now I'm going to feed, clean, feed, clean, feed, clean. So I'm going to make sure that nothing can go wrong. And I'm going to do it with every single setup. Not the big ones, not the small one, every single one. Again, this colony, actually, I haven't seen mites on this colony. And if you look up here, they're a little bit strange. The queen seems to lay a lot and then she stops. But this is, of course, my Nova Mesococcarelli. And we do have a little bit of eggs in here. You see a little bit of larvae. And I'm going to do the exact same with these. Clean them, feed them, clean them, feed them. Also, again, using the antimatter feeder because it's so well. It's easy and you can refill it without actually getting it out. The ants are not too happy with that, but they have it all right. The big problem over here is this colony, Mite and bicarionatum. They are very hard to clean and they're very hard to maintain, but I'm going to try to use this, and I'm just going to see, I'm going to take big roaches and just cut them as little as possible, because I know that the ants can get in there. But the second I start cutting it so into small pieces, that's when I see that the ants actually drag it out of the dish, and we have small problems like this, and this right here is very hard to clean. So I'm going to see if I can use this and just not at all cut the roaches up to hopefully help them that way. Over here we have the Singularis, and you can see I've just on top of cleaning. In here, the Herculinus, I'm just on top of cleaning. And again, everything is well ventilated except for this, because I don't trust that these queens can get out. Now the Metabarbarus is a little bit, I should potentially go in here and just also add substrate. You know, I think I'm gonna do that. But we have, of course, a dry seed starch over here, and we have the trash over here. It actually looks a little bit wet. So I'm gonna go in and do the same thing. I forgot about this yesterday. I'm gonna fill it up with dirt. Now I should actually also just take the lid off. But this colony has never been affected by mites. It seems that they actually eat the roach pieces good enough. I can feed them an entire roach, only cut the head off, and the day after it's small exoskeletons that's remaining, because the majors can go in and cut it all up. But I do think I will still go in and give it the same treatment, take the lid off, fill it up with sand. Of course the mantis should be fine, but I'm also just going to go in here, get the small mantis debris out from there. But yeah, that is a little bit of what I'm doing with my mites. So the newest thing I discovered was that the bull ants sadly do have this, not this necessarily the same mites, but they do also have mites. Now I do believe that all of the mites from the bull ants are from the feeder insects, and it's all grain mites. But we did see mites on the eyes of the queen, and that's why I have done some new things. So yeah, I just want to tell a little bit about what I'm doing with my mites. And I'm going to be sure to give you all an update in the future. Again, this treatment have worked wonders for the Nicos in the past, because they were faced with a lot of mites. But after I cleaned the old setup and I put 2 outwalls in and I kept a good, well ventilated, the mites disappeared. It's my own mistake that I saw that 1 or 2 mites were on the workers. Now we have like 10 mites on some of the workers, so it's gone very bad. So now I'm using the same treatment with having everything open. I don't like having everything open because I don't like the fear of my ants actually escaping. But it's good we have escape prevention, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Now I'm gonna see if I can turn this around. So I press 1, 2, 3, and we turn around right here. Hello guys, and Oliver right here. So yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys have of thoughts in the comments. I know a lot of you say you need to buy hypernastic miles, but I do believe that it's a lot better to simply dry the setup, because that kills. That's what I did with the Nicos. I bought hypernastic miles and I dried the setup, and all of the hypernastic miles died because I dried the setup. And surprise, surprise, the other mites also died. So I also do believe that the Nico here has been living with mites. They have been living with mites ever since the Carabera incident so many months ago. I think I got them, I want to say October actually. Yeah, October. I think I got the mite problem in October. So this colony have been living with mites since October, and have been doing pretty decently with mites. Although right now it's not going too well, but I don't see deaths, but I'm gonna get on top of it. I am mostly scared of my bull ant queen, and that's why I'm stepping it up this much, because I want to make sure that my bull ant queen doesn't get affected, because the mites may be a little bit more natural for the Nicos, because they should be mites coming from Carabera diversa. And as far as my head says, Carabera diversa and Nicorensis are fairly close. They live fairly close to each other country-wise. But yeah, that is my mite update of 2023, early beginning of 2023. It will be interesting to see in a few months in summer, mid-23, to see if it's the same or if my mite problem is gone. Again, the mite problem was extremely under control until I moved the Nicos in here and believed that that this was dry enough. Now, the reason they came back again is because I thought that the setup was dry enough, so I fed them a lot more meals. And because I fed them so much extra, that was enough for them to explode. The mites exploded after I fed them so much. But yeah, that has been an update on my ant room in 2023. Now, I would also like to say that for the first time in I don't know how long, all of the setups are clean. We of course have a little bit out here, but if you saw the trash pile a few days ago, you can see the trash pile, how big it have been, pretty much this size of like this amount of trash, but it's now a lot smaller. Everything is clean in here. It's very nice for me because I like to have things clean, and they have not been clean for a very long time, but everything is now under control again here in the ant room. And I want to say thank you very much for watching this little Mite update, and have a great Easter. I mean, it's the last day of Easter today. I guess this will come out Tuesday, so Easter is done by then. But yeah, have a lovely week, all of you out there. Bye!